Hello students, welcome back to my channel NY's classes. Hope you people are doing well. Today we are going to start with the first topic of nationalism in India, which is the First World War, Khilafat and the non-cooperation movement. Now, in this video I will be dealing only with the First World War. In the next videos I will be covering the Khilafat movement and the non-cooperation movement. Then there are other important events also that took place before the Khilafat and the non-cooperation movement, like the return of Gandhiji to India, his Satyagraha movements in India, then the imposition of the Rowlatt Act and the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And then happened the Khilafat movement and the non-cooperation movement. So this is just a gist of the sequence of events that you will be studying in this chapter, and definitely many more. Now, in your NCERT books, this chapter covers the events of the Indian national movement that took place from 1919 onwards. Things or the events that took place before 1919, you people have already studied about them in standard 8. If you remember, we have studied these things from the beginning, that how the Britishers came to India. They came here for the purpose of trade in form of East India Company. That was the year of 1600, and then gradually they started annexing the territories. They came here for the purpose of trade, but their greed increased and they started ruling us. They started acquiring territories from us. So if you remember the first battle of Plassey that which took place in the 1757, that was the first time the Britishers had a battle on our ground. And then with the Battle of Plassey, and there were plenty of other battles and wars between the Indians and the Britishers, and the Britishers went on annexing more and more parts of our country, and they started ruling us. So you people have already studied about these things. Here we will be in standard 10. In this chapter you will be studying about the part of the international movement that took place from 1919 onwards. Now, this topic is about the First World War. You may wonder that why are we talking about the First World War? Because India was not a participating country in this war. Neither we were a participating country in the First World War, nor were we participating in the Second World War. So the answer to this is that we will be studying about the First World War and its effect on our country, because although because it were the Britishers who were the participating country, along with the other countries like France, Germany, Italy, the United States. Britain was participating in the war, not India. And since India was ruled by the Britishers at that time, so whatever the Britishers needed from us, they took it and they utilized it in their war in the European countries where the war was going on. So let us begin from the paragraph. The war created a new economic and political situation. So this First World War, which continued from about 1913 to 1918, the effect of the war was that it influenced our country also. It led to a huge increase in defense expenditure. Now, this expenditure was incurred by the Britishers, but these Britishers, they were covering their cost from India also. They were अपनी कंट्री से तो वो पैसा लगा ही रहे थे. They were also utilizing our resources, our men, our raw materials and everything to win the war. And this war was being financed by war loans and increasing taxes. तो इंडिया से वो कैसे पैसे निकाल रहे थे to utilize it in their war? What they did? They increased the taxes on us in form of custom duties and in form of income taxes. Income taxes, they introduced income taxes which was not existent before. So from the time, if you remember, the Battle of Plassey, after winning the Battle of Plassey, when the Britishers they annexed parts of Bengal and Bihar, तो जो भी अब इन पार्ट्स में रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन होता था वो अब वहाँ के नवाब नहीं ले रहे थे. ऑल द रेवेन्यू वॉज नाउ बीइंग कलेक्टेड बाय द ब्रिटिशर्स. तो this is how the Britishers started increasing their revenue, increasing their by increasing the taxes on our Indian land. पे टैक्स लगा हुआ है, द फार्मर्स, द विलेजर्स, वी वर पेइंग taxes, and now further custom duties were also imposed. So those Indians who were having trade from the other countries, who were importing goods from the other countries, or even exporting goods to the other countries, so heavy taxes were being imposed. And because of the increase in the custom duties and increase in the income tax, what happened? The prices of things increased. Through the war years, prices increased, almost doubling between 1913 and 1918, leading to extreme hardship for the common people. So this was the first effect that we Indians had to face because of the world war. Now the second thing, the villages were called upon to supply soldiers, and the forced recruitment in the rural areas caused widespread anger. Now, during the war, as we know, there is loss of property as well as loss of life. Many army men die at the war front. So, these Britishers in their army, they had British people also, and they had also recruited Indian men. Okay, and in order, because many lives were being lost, the war was being fought at a very big level. So in order to compensate what they were doing, they were forcefully recruiting मतलब हायर करना या भर्ती करना जैसे आप बोलते हो. They were recruiting Indian men also from the villages in huge numbers, and this is called forced recruitment. Why this is called forced recruitment? Because we Indians, these village people or the Indian people, they were not willing to join the army, they were not willing to fight this war, because there was no sense of a purpose. For whom are we fighting this war? For whom are we losing our lives? तो वॉर तो ब्रिटिशर्स लड़ रहे हैं, तो हमें अपनी जान देने की क्या ज़रूरत है? But because the Britishers had more power, they had suppressed us, we were being ruled by the Britishers, तो वो ज़बरदस्ती क्या करते थे? In huge numbers, they used to take men from the villages and send them to European countries where the war was being fought. And this caused a lot of resentment and anger among the people against the Britishers. Now, the third consequence or the third effect of the war. Then in 1918 to 19, and then in 1920 to 21, crops failed in many parts of India. Now the Britishers who were ruling us, they were hardly paying any attention on what is happening in the country, because अभी उनका सारा फोकस जो था वो शिफ्ट हो गया था वॉर को जीतने पे. ऑल देयर रिसोर्सेज एंड एवरीथिंग वाज बीइंग डाइवर्टेड टू विनिंग द वॉर. तो ऐसे ही सारा एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड जो भी थोड़ा बहुत वो ध्यान देते थे, whoever the people who were from the British administration who were taking care of maybe farming and all, वो भी अब बंद हो चुका था. And in these years, the given years, what happened? The crops failed. The amount of जितना हार्वेस्ट होना चाहिए था उतना नहीं हो पाया, because of maybe drier weather or heavy rainfall or acute winter. तो इन कारणों की वजह से क्या हुआ, इन कुछ सालों में there wasn't adequate amount of harvest which resulted in acute shortages of food. So now what happened कि हमारे पास उतना फूड ही नहीं है कि हम अपने इंडियन जो पीपल है वो अपने नीड्स को फुलफिल कर पाए. This was accompanied by an influenza epidemic, and on top of it what happened, there was a epidemic spreading in the name of influenza. So people are dying because of hunger, and now furthermore people are dying because of influenza. At that time even small diseases were not treated properly. There was lack of technology, lack of scientific and research on these diseases. So छोटी छोटी जो डिजीज़ भी होती थी जो आज के डेट पे क्यूरेबल है, उस समय क्योर नहीं हो पाते थे, and people used to lose their lives. According to the census of 1921, around 12 to 13 million people perished as a result of famines and epidemic. So so you can see a huge number of people lost their lives. Now, in this paragraph you will see that there are 3 basic points. Now इस paragraph से एक important question आता है, which is how the First World War helped in the national movement in India. So this question can carry either 3 marks or this question can either be of 5 marks. तो अगर 3 marks है तो just 3 red ticks which I have given in this this paragraph, you can use those sentences to frame your answers, and if the question carries 5 marks, then you have to write the entire paragraph. Okay, you have to explain it. So this is one important paragraph from which this question comes. तो बेसिकली इस पैराग्राफ में हमने क्या पढ़ा कि how the First World War affected India. What was the consequence of the First World War and what was its influence on us? Now, उसका इंडियन नेशनल मूवमेंट या फिर नेशनलिज्म हमारे में जगाने में कैसा इसका योगदान था. अब इन सारी जो भी तो फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर की वजह से जो भी तकलीफ, जो भी स्ट्रगल्स एंड प्रॉब्लम्स हम इंडियंस ने फेस किया, दैट स्ट्रगल ब्रॉट अस टुगेदर, दैट हार्डशिप ब्रॉट अस टुगेदर. पीपल जो अभी तक थोड़ा एरोगेंट थे, थोड़ा अनअवेयर थे, now they also started realizing that these Britishers are not doing any good to us. They have come here for trade. Now they have shifted their focus on administration and annexation of territories, but हमारा कोई भी welfare यहाँ नहीं हो रहा. They are ruling us and they are not even treating us properly. तो ये जो common struggle था, पेन था, इस पेन ने हम सबको एक साथ जोड़ा. Then there were other events also which brought us together. ये फीलिंग को किस तरीके से स्ट्रॉन्ग किया गया, स्ट्रेंथन किया गया, यू विल बी स्टडिंग इन द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक्स. सो टिल इन दिस टॉपिक, so the last line says that people hoped that their hardships would end after the war was over, but that did not happen. Now people had this hope कि maybe because of the First World War what will happen, the Britishers may leave our country and थिंग्स विल बी बैक टू नॉर्मल. ब्रिटिशर्स चले जाएंगे और हमारा ये जो इतना स्ट्रगल और हार्डशिप है, ये जो हमारे इस तरीके से दिन चले आ रहे हैं, वो अब ख़त्म हो जाएंगे. लेकिन ऐसा नहीं हुआ. द ब्रिटिशर्स डिड नॉट गो अवे, दे डिड नॉट लीव आवर कंट्री इवन आफ्टर द फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर. तो आगे के टॉपिक्स में फिर हम पढ़ेंगे दैट हाउ the people and various leaders, they came together, they organized themselves to fight against the Britishers. So that's all in this video. Thank you, students.